JSpy25.
Hi, welcome back. Last episode, I said I was going to hopefully be showing off a successful experiment. Well, it kind of worked, like Jeff Goldblum getting into the teleportation pod with a fly. It kind of worked. I thought it would be cool to have a removable Ursus Urko helmet for the ape figures, and it's been on my list for a while. A couple of weeks ago, I was messaging someone with the same thought, and that inspired me to give this a shot. I don't mean to lose everyone on this one, but if you understood my last video on 3D printing, then that will help. Anyway, it's the end result that matters. Creating compound curves in SketchUp can be difficult, so I decided to try 3D scanning the Mego Ursus head to capture that helmet. Here I'm scanning a gorilla soldier head that will help scale the helmet. The software I'm using is PolyCam that I downloaded from Google Play onto my phone. The mat it sits on is to help the scan process connect the dots, so to speak. That mat came from a different scanning software program. The software can automatically take pictures as you rotate the camera around the object. Be sure to get all of the sides, including the top of the object. From all of these pictures, it will create a 3D object file that can be saved. Remember STL files? In the last episode I said STL stood for Standard Triangle Language, which it is and makes sense since the objects are made up of triangles. But STL also stands for Stereolithography, or Standard Tessellation Language, which I always thought was the language spoken by the aliens in Season 2, Episode 7 of Star Trek. Anyway, the STL file is the end result of the scanning process. This is about where the fly entered the teleportation pod. After the scan, I imported the STL file into SketchUp and got an odd result. And the plan I had of creating a void in the helmet scan by creating negative space of the ape head scan didn't work. So I repaired the heads in the slicer, then exported them as new fixed STL files so I could import them back into SketchUp to resize and repair, removing the face from the helmet, creating a new glyph for the front of the helmet since it didn't show up very well in the scan, and then the extension tool had expired, and the way SketchUp does extension licenses is extremely cumbersome, so I ended up getting the helmet thickness manually by copying and pasting a slightly smaller size, then connecting the lines to make it solid. With the helmet repaired and a solid piece, next comes the sizing. On the first attempt, I was more focused on the circumference around the head rather than the height, so it turned out looking like a Martian baby head. On the second attempt, I overcompensated to tone down the protrusion in the back, and it turned out looking more like one of these. After a couple more tries, I think I got it pretty close. I used the thinnest fake leather with black on the reverse side that I could find. Experimented with the pattern for the leather that goes around the helmet. I may go back and refine the helmet to reflect the movie a little more and tweak the leather pattern. I hadn't exported anything from the scanning software before this. All in all, I think it turned out better than Jeff Goldblum did. If you learned something or were entertained by this video, consider hitting the like button. Join me next week for another episode.